Discover the incredible heartwarming adventure of Ginger and her life-changing balloon puppy surprise. In the small, tight-knit town of Maplewood, where everyone knows each other's names, Ginger stood in the bustling market, her heart racing. The sweet scent of popcorn wafted through the air, wrapped around the shouts of laughter from children running past. She gazed at her 6-year-old daughter, Mia, with her bright blue eyes and untamed curls bouncing as she skipped along like a little whirlwind. Ginger could hardly believe that just a few more days stood between her and the vibrant annual town fair, their fair, where hope sparkled like confetti in the sun. It was her golden opportunity to showcase her balloon creations, to pour her heart into colorful arches and playful creatures, and to earn the extra money they desperately needed. Yet as the air grew thick with the sounds of joy, a wave of anxiety washed over her. News spread that a wealthy family from the city planned to host their own lavish attraction at the fair, flaunting their high-end merchandise amidst Maplewood's humble atmosphere. Ginger felt her heart sink. How could she compete with ostentatious displays? Yet, she couldn't shake off the familiar warmth inside her. The way Mia's laughter filled their little home with comfort and joy, and how that very joy ignited Ginger's imagination. On a quiet night, under the soft glow of their modest lamp, she twisted and turned colorful latex balloons, determined to create something special for Mia. But doubt crept in like a shadow. What if no one wanted her simple creations? What if laughter turned to scorn? Just then, a sudden voice broke her thoughts. Those balloons might seem small, but they can bring the biggest smiles. You know, Mr. Lawson, the town's beloved veteran, chimed in with a smile that could warm the coldest winter. He recounted stories of resilience, of overcoming hurdles with unwavering hope. As he spoke, Ginger felt a flicker of inspiration igniting within her, a glow that mirrored the twinkle in Mia's eyes. If Mia loves them, she thought, maybe others will too. The fair loomed closer, vibrant colors painting the sky, as Ginger and Mia prepared their booth. The palpable excitement buzzed against their skin. The sun spilled over the horizon, promising a day filled with hope. As they set up, vibrant balloons danced in the wind, each twist and turn representing their hard-fought dreams, their laughter intermingling with the sweet sounds of community. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as they stepped back to admire their efforts, a local news team arrived. Their cameras caught the essence of Mia's unique balloon creations, brilliantly vibrant and charmingly whimsical. Ginger felt a rush of emotions as the crew pointed their lenses at them, capturing the magic of their moment. Would this exposure turn the tides in their favor? Would the town remember the heart and hard work beneath the laughter they brought? Ginger held her breath, heart racing. This was more than just a fair. It was about showcasing their story, their resilience, and perhaps claiming their rightful place in the heart of Maplewood. As the crowd began to swirl, Ginger's heart raced with anticipation and fear. Would they rally for her? Or would the sparkle of the wealthy newcomers dim the light of her dreams? The fair was just beginning, and for Ginger and Mia, the journey had only just started. The sun rose slowly over Maplewood, casting a warm golden hue across the fairgrounds. Ginger stood at their booth, heart pounding as the first throngs of visitors began to filter in. Excitement danced in the air, but so did the whispers of doubt. Mia tugged at her sleeve, pointing toward the grand entrance. Look, Mommy. Everyone's so happy. The innocent joy in her daughter's voice made Ginger's heart swell. She took a moment to breathe in the sight around her, the colors, the laughter, the vibrant life of the fair, and she felt those familiar pangs of anxiety creep in again. I can do this, she whispered to herself, glancing down at Mia. The little girl clutched a balloon puppy tightly, her eyes sparkling as though it were the most precious gift in the world. Ginger knelt down. Mia, how do you feel about our booth? It's the best, Mommy. I love our balloons. The words flowed out with the kind of pure belief only a child could muster, and it lit something inside Ginger. As families strolled by, some excitedly stopped to admire their booth. Children pointed and laughed, tugging at their parents' hands to come over. Ginger found herself sharing smiles and laughter, the warmth of the sun and the sound of joyful chatter wrapping around her like a cozy blanket. For a moment, the worries about the wealthy family's flashy display vanished. But soon Ginger caught sight of their competition. The other booth, a lavish display glittering with overpriced merchandise and flashy signage, drew a crowd like moths to a flame. She felt her heart sink. Would they notice her simple handmade balloons among the ostentatious spectacle? Suddenly, a cheerful little boy darted past her booth. He was clutching one of her balloon puppies. "Mommy, look!" he shouted as he held his new treasure aloft. The small creature bounced in the air, its floppy ears swaying joyfully with every move. Ginger's heart lifted at the sight. "See, Mommy?" Mia chimed in, her voice full of glee. "They love your balloons." Ginger smiled wide, bolstered by that small victory, but just as quickly felt the tightening grip of anxiety return. What if the attention wasn't enough? The day rolled on, each passing hour filled with laughter and joy echoing around them. Families gathered and many took photos with Mia and their creations. As the crowds began to swell, Ginger felt her confidence reigniting, along with a newfound sense of determination. She was about to find her voice amongst the noise. Then a familiar voice broke through the chatter. Mr. Lawson, with his warm smile and friendly demeanor, approached her booth. "Ginger, this is fantastic." His eyes twinkled as he surveyed the joyful creations. "These balloons are magic." The kids can't stop smiling. Ginger's heart raced at his approval. "Thank you, Mr. Lawson. I just hope," she sighed, her voice trailing off, filled with worry. "I just hope it's enough." "Enough for what?" he asked, his brow furrowing with genuine concern. "To make a living to support Mia. That's all I want," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. He paused, then took a moment, placing his hand gently on her shoulder. "Sometimes heart is worth much more than gold. You'll see." His words filled her with a strange hope. Maybe, just maybe, she could turn this fair into more than just a dream. Just then a little girl approached, eyes wide, pointing to a balloon dragon. "Can I have that one?" Ginger felt the tightening knot in her stomach loosen. She nodded, bending down to create the colorful creature with swift and joyful hands. And so, as her day unfolded, the laughter echoed around her, each smile creating a vibrant tapestry of colors. But just as the sun began to set and the sky faded to a rich indigo, she heard a commotion. "Mia!" she called as her heart raced again. "Stay close." But as she turned, she realized her daughter was no longer by her side. What had begun as a day of hope was about to take an unexpected turn. Ginger scanned the fairgrounds, a wave of panic crashing over her. The laughter and chatter that had filled her heart now felt like distant echoes. "Mia!" she shouted again, this time her voice trembling. The people around her moved like a blurry film, colorful faces and bright clothes swirling together. She tried to focus as she took a step towards the crowd, desperation clawing at her throat. "Mia!" Each shout felt more frantic than the last. She envisioned her little girl wandering alone, eyes wide in confusion. The thought made her stomach twist. Just then she spotted a cluster of children near the face-painting booth. Relief flooded through her, but she shook her head. They weren't Mia. She took a deeper breath, feeling the weight of the worry settle on her shoulders. She had to be calm for Mia's sake. "Excuse me," she said to a passing mother. "Have you seen a little girl with brown hair about 5 years old?" The woman shook her head, looking sympathetic yet slightly puzzled. Ginger pressed on, weaving through the crowds of families enjoying the fair, her heart racing with every passing moment. She tried to remember where they had last been together. Her thoughts raced faster than her feet. Then she saw him, the familiar silhouette of Mr. Lawson. He stood near a booth, his brow furrowed in concern. "Ginger!" he called as he caught sight of her. "What's wrong?" "My daughter, she was right here," the words came out in a shaky breath. His face turned serious as he looked around, clearly realizing the urgency of the situation. He moved closer, his demeanor shifting to calm reassurance. "Let us look together. You know this fair pretty well. I can help." His presence steadied her as they moved past the food stalls, the bright lights now blurring in her vision. Ginger's mind raced with irrational thoughts. What if Mia got scared? What if she was crying? She fought to push those thoughts aside. They couldn't help her now. As they searched, Ginger spotted a balloon artist nearby, twisting colorful figures for children eagerly watching. Suddenly, a thought sparked in her mind. Mia loves balloons. She would go to them. Great idea. Mr. Lawson replied, his voice steady. They hurried towards the booth, her heart pounding with both hope and dread. As they approached, the balloon artist looked up and smiled. Hey there. These kids are really loving the new designs. Have you seen a little girl? Ginger asked, desperation creeping into her tone again. Actually, I think I saw a girl over by the carousel a few minutes ago. She had a balloon puppy. Ginger's heart soared. That's her. The carousel was just a short distance away. They dashed toward it, and as they got closer, Ginger could see the outline of a small figure, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Mia! She shouted as they reached the edge of the queue. There she was, eyes wide and cheeks flushed from excitement, bouncing up and down in front of the spinning carousel horses. In that moment, all the worry melted away. Mama! Mia's voice rang out, and before Ginger knew it, her daughter was running towards her, arms outstretched. Ginger swooped down, clutching her tight, closing her eyes as she breathed in the scent of her child. I thought I lost you, she whispered, tears pricking the corners of her eyes. But Mommy, look at my balloon puppy. It's so big. Mia giggled, completely oblivious to the worry she had caused. Ginger laughed through her tears, cupping Mia's face in her hands. I'm just glad you're okay. I want to ride the carousel. Mia squealed, pulling away, eyes sparkling with joy. Ginger stifled a laugh, still feeling the aftershocks of fear. But there was also warmth bubbling inside her. Today was about joy and connection, about more than just competition and anxiety. She looked at Mr. Lawson, still standing nearby, a proud smile on his face. Thank you, she breathed, feeling gratitude wash over her. He simply nodded, the understanding deepening in his gaze. But as they joined the line for the carousel, a shadow twitched in her vision. One of the figures from the neighboring booth stood watching them, a smirk playing on their lips. Ginger felt a twist of unease settle in her stomach. What was their game? As the carousel party took off, she couldn't shake the feeling that the day was far from over. As the carousel spun around them, Ginger found herself lost in a sea of colors and laughter. The music played a cheerful tune, but her heart still raced, a remnant of the fear that had just gripped her moments before. Mia's laughter danced in the air, bright and innocent, but the smirk she'd seen a moment ago lingered in her mind. Mama, look! The pink unicorn! Mia pointed, her eyes wide with wonder. Ginger smiled, grateful for her daughter's joy, but unease gnawed at her. She glanced back towards the booth where the figure had been. They were still watching, their presence an unsettling reminder that something was off. Everything okay? Mr. Lawson whispered, noting the shift in her expression. Just, something doesn't feel right, Ginger replied, trying to keep her voice steady. She felt silly for letting her imagination run wild, but a mother's instinct rarely lied. Mia tugged at her hand, pulling her closer to the carousel railing. Can I go again? She asked, bouncing on her feet, lightness gracing her features. Ginger wanted nothing more than to soak in this precious moment, a normalcy that chased away shadows lurking in the corners of her mind. Just one more ride, then we'll get ice cream, she promised, desperate to keep the joy flowing. Mama, can I help pick the flavor? Mia chirped, her eyes sparkling like the lights above them. As Mia bounced gleefully, Ginger's heart swelled. When the ride finally came to an end, Mia hopped off, still clutching her balloon puppy, its twisted form hanging proudly in the air. Ginger joined her, and they shared a laugh as Mia pretended the balloon puppy was barking happily at the other children. But as they walked away, halfway to the ice cream booth, Ginger caught sight of that familiar figure again, this time moving through the crowd. Ginger, look! Mr. Lawson pointed, a confused expression flickering across his face. It was an older man, his face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. His clothes hung loosely on his thin frame, and he seemed intent on something as he maneuvered through the crowd. As he neared, Ginger felt a chill run down her spine. Who was he, and why did he keep glancing towards them? Mama, can we go? Mia asked, drawing her back to the moment. Ginger turned to her daughter, forcing a smile. Just a minute, sweetheart. Let us wait and see. Milliseconds stretched out like hours as the man moved closer. Ginger's pulse quickened. She sought Mr. Lawson's gaze, searching for answers. But he appeared just as concerned, shifting slightly closer to her, ready to react. Maybe we should get ice cream now? He suggested softly. No, let us just. She stopped short as the man unexpectedly paused, his eyes locking onto Mia, who was giggling at the antics of a nearby petting zoo. Ginger felt rage and protective instinct surge within her. Hey! Mr. Lawson called out, stepping in front of her and Mia, his posture like that of a bear defending its cubs. The man blinked, startled. His smirk faded, revealing a look of frustration. I was just trying to see the puppy, he declared, his voice surprisingly gravelly. Relief and suspicion washed over Ginger. You wanted to see the balloon? Yeah, he said, shrugging. Not often you see a balloon puppy. Maybe it was innocent. But the way he said it still made Ginger's heart race. With renewed unease, she wrapped an arm around Mia, who was still blissfully unaware. Let us go get that ice cream, she said, trying to steer her daughter away from the stranger. As they turned their backs, Ginger glanced once more over her shoulder at the man. He was still watching, that smirk returning as if he was hiding a secret, or maybe even a promise of trouble. Mama, hurry! Mia shouted, pulling her towards the ice cream booth, laughter trailing behind her. But as they moved away, Ginger couldn't help but think, who was he really? The day had started with fun and laughter, but now it felt like a ticking clock. Something was brewing just beneath the surface. What was he plotting? Would they be safe? With ice cream in their future, the thought should be made her happy. Instead, a knot formed in her stomach, whispering that the fair had more surprises in store. As they neared the brightly painted ice cream booth, the enticing smell of waffle cones wafted through the air, a reminder of simpler times. The cheerful chatter of families surrounded them, but it felt distant, muffled by the pounding of Ginger's heart. Mia skipped ahead, eagerly gazing at the colorful selection, blissfully unaware of the shadows lurking just beyond her laughter. 2 scoops of rainbow sprinkle, please. Mia clapped her hands excitedly, her face lighting up with joy. Ginger couldn't help but smile at her daughter, who was savoring every glimpse of summer sweetness. Yet, even with the promise of ice cream, anxiety prickled at the back of her mind like an uncomfortable itch. Do you have a flavor in mind? Mr. Lawson asked, his voice low but warm. Anything. As long as it's bright, Ginger replied, her gaze drifting back to the crowd. The man was gone, or at least she couldn't see him anymore. She hoped her instinct was just acting up again, but doubt lingered in the back of her mind. Mia turned, waving her balloon puppy in the air. Look, Mama. I want that one. She pointed at a bright pink and blue swirl. It was almost a mirror of the balloons surrounding the fair. That one is perfect, Ginger exclaimed, her heart softening as she watched Mia's untainted joy. But even as she agreed, a nagging thought twisted in her stomach. The happiness felt like a fragile glass, capable of shattering at any unforeseen moment. After they ordered the ice cream, Mr. Lawson leaned closer. You don't have to worry. I'll keep an eye out. His reassuring words wrapped around her like a protective shield. Thank you, she whispered, grateful for his steadfast presence, but guilt gnawed at her. Was she becoming paranoid? Why did she feel like a weight hung over this cheerful day? As they moved to a small picnic table, Ginger wiped her hands on her jeans. The sun glimmered, showering the fairground with golden hues. And for a fleeting moment, the worries faded among the spinning rides and laughter of children. Mia's delighted squeals as she took a huge bite of her ice cream brought a smile to her face, wrapping her in warmth. Look at this, Mama. It's melting all over. Mia giggled, tongue darting out to catch the drippy ice cream, her cheeks dotted with splashes of color. Better eat it before it disappears. Ginger laughed, but the sound felt tight in her throat. Just then she felt a presence behind her, a weight that made her heart race. Mama? Mia's voice pulled her back to reality. Ginger turned and there he was, the man from earlier, standing just a few feet away, watching them. His hat and the shadows around his face made it hard to read his expression, but his smirk was unmistakable, tinged with something much darker. Why don't you come over here and show me that balloon puppy, little girl? He said, his voice smooth yet unsettling, wrapped in an unfamiliar familiarity. Ginger's heart sank and instinct kicked in. She stood up, placing herself firmly between Mia and the stranger. You need to go. Now, she said fiercely, feeling adrenaline spike through her veins. Mama, who is he? Mia asked, her eyes wide, searching for her mother's reassurance. Just someone we don't need to talk to. Let us go, Ginger urged gently, pulling Mia closer. Panic bubbled beneath her skin as she scanned the crowd, searching for anyone who might help. The man held his ground, a bemused smile emerging as he took a step forward. I just wanted to admire that balloon. It's a real treasure. In that moment, time seemed to freeze as Ginger felt the weight of the world pressing down on her. She couldn't let this man come too close. Every survival instinct urged her to protect Mia fiercely. Mama? Mia's innocent voice broke through her defense. Can we go on the swings? Ginger nodded, forcing a calm that her heart didn't share. Absolutely. Let us find the swings. As they started to walk away, the man's voice softly pierced the air, lingering long after they'd begun to escape his gaze. I'll be watching with every step. A cloud of dread gathered around them, clouds of uncertainty rolling into view. Something was coming. Something she couldn't shake off. Ginger gripped Mia's hand tighter, knowing the day was far from over. What was the man hoping for? What challenges lay ahead in this seemingly joyous fair? With every breath, she sensed the wheels of a new and twisted tale beginning to turn. Ginger walked quickly, her heart pounding beneath her chest like a war drum. Mia, oblivious to the storm gathering just behind her, skipped along the path towards the swings, her balloon puppy bobbing happily in the air beside her. Each cheerful hop made Ginger's skin crawl just a little more, the laughter of nearby children ringing hollow in her ears. Faster, Mama. I want to be the first on the swings. Mia called out, her voice echoing with pure excitement. Ginger forced a smile, bumping back the unease that threatened to choke her. Sure thing, sweetie, she replied, though her voice wavered slightly. Every instinct within her was screaming to turn back, to find Mr. Lawson and make sure he was keeping an eye on them. But the look of joy on Mia's face anchored her footsteps. As they approached the swings, Ginger felt disoriented, like she was a puppet with its strings tangled. The thrill of the fair had become a blur of color and sound, starkly contrasting the dark figure that lingered in the corners of her mind. Look, Mama! Mia cheered as she ran to the nearest swing, not noticing Ginger starting to glance back. He was still there, just at the edge of the crowd. His presence was a shadow that refused to fade, looming just out of reach but entirely too close for her comfort. Mia! Ginger's voice came out sharper than intended. Stay close to me, okay? The swing creaked as Mia climbed into it, clutching the chains like she was ready to take off into the sky. The carefree bliss of the moment annoyed Ginger, who felt like she was fighting an unseen battle. She pushed Mia gently, watching as her daughter swung higher, laughter erupting with each thrust from her legs. But all Ginger could see was the man at the edge, smirking as if this innocent moment was a cruel joke. Mama, I can go higher. Mia's giggles rang out like tiny bells, but Ginger's stomach twisted. She stepped further forward, eyes locked on the stranger. Mia, let us take a little break, Ginger said, her voice barely breaking through the barrage of joyous noise. Before she could say anything more, she caught a glimpse of Mr. Lawson moving through the crowd toward them. Relief crashed over her like a wave, chasing away the dread just for a moment. Mama! Higher! Mia shouted, her cheeks flushed and eyes bright. Ginger inhaled deep, keeping her gaze steady on Mr. Lawson as he reached them. Hey, you two, he said, his face a mix of encouragement and concern. Everything okay? Ginger nodded, but her gut screamed with anxiety. I thought I saw someone. Mr. Lawson glanced towards the crowd, and Ginger followed his gaze. The man was still there, still smirking, but he hadn't moved. Stay right here. Mr. Lawson's tone transformed steely protective. He started toward the stranger, a line drawn between them and their safety. Mama? Can we go on the merry-go-round next? Mia's voice broke through once more, innocent and clear. Of course, sweetheart, Ginger replied, forcing a smile even as her heart raced. She was desperate to distract her daughter from the tension wrapped tightly around them. As Mr. Lawson approached the man, Ginger turned her attention back to Mia, higher and higher in the air. The swings creaked under her daughter's unyielding joy, and Ginger's heart clenched. Then, without warning, a cry of fear pierced the air, a shriek from somewhere deep among the crowded fairgrounds. Ginger's heart leaped, Mama! What's wrong? Ginger's gut twisted. The laughter and jubilance evaporated, replaced instantly with uncertainty. Stay right here, Mia, she managed to say, her voice trembling slightly. She turned her eyes towards the source of the sound, heart thundering, aware that the day could tilt at any moment. Mama! Mia grabbed her hand, looking around as chaos began to ripple through the crowd. Breath caught in her throat. What was happening? As she lived that moment, everything felt surreal. A snapshot of fear that was both unimaginable and inescapable. Just then, she caught a glimpse of the dark figure moving through the throng of people. Something was brewing, danger. Lingered in the air like the storm before the rain. With every heartbeat, the next step became clearer. They had to get out. But where could they go? Ginger leaned closer to Mia. A sense of impending dread tightening around them. She needed to protect her little girl at all costs, but would she be able to? Their joyful escape had turned into something unrecognizable, and no one knew just how far the monster in the shadows was willing to go. Ginger stood frozen, heart racing as the shriek echoed in her ears. Panic gripped her, pulling her deeper into a whirlwind of chaos. Children laughed and played, but beneath it all, a current of fear surged. Stay close, she whispered to Mia, gripping her hand tightly. Mia, wide-eyed and confused, clutched her balloon puppy, only partially understanding the weight of the moment. What's happening, Mama? She asked, her voice small but determined. I don't know, love. Just Ginger's throat felt dry as she searched the crowd for Mr. Lawson. He was confronting the dark figure, and for a moment hope flickered within her. Maybe he was about to defuse whatever threat lurked just beyond her line of sight. But then the figure turned sharply, cutting through the crowd like a shadow. Ginger's instincts flared. Every part of her wanted to run, to shield Mia from whatever darkness threatened them. She could see Mr. Lawson gesturing, his frame tense, a protector ready for battle. Mama! Can we go on the merry-go-round? Please, Mia begged, the sound like a gentle tremor in the storm raging around them. Ginger knew she was trying to distract her daughter from something sinister lurking too close for comfort. We will, sweetheart, she promised, her voice trembling, but let us just wait a minute. In that split second of hesitation, movement caught her eye. A figure darted through the crowd, not the dark miscreant, but a child, lost in the sea of fairgoers, calling for his parents with wild desperation. The sight ripped through Ginger's heart. She could feel the fear, the disorientation. Little ones tugged away from their safeties, thrown into panic. Mama! Mia's voice broke through again, pulling Ginger from her thoughts. I want to go now. With eyes ablaze with resolve, Ginger pulled them toward the nearest exit. The world flashed by bright lights, laughing faces, but everything felt distorted. Each joyous cheer felt like a mockery against the tension building inside her. Hold my hand tight, okay? Ginger instructed as they approached the chaos. More screams erupted, confusion spreading like wildfire. The merry-go-round loomed ahead, but it felt so far away. Each step was a tether anchoring them to safety, but the threat was near, watching, waiting. We're going to play a game. Follow the game. We'll make it. Mama? Mia's voice wavered. I'm scared, me too, Ginger admitted quietly, squeezing her hand. But we're going to be fine. Promise. As they neared the edge of the fairgrounds, she spotted Mr. Lawson. He was still in front of the dark figure, tension crackling in the air. Ginger's heart lurched, seeing that their protector was focused yet strained. The realization struck her hard. She couldn't just leave him. He was standing between danger and them. Mr. Lawson! She yelled, voice breaking through the noise. He turned briefly, eyes sharp. Get to safety. Now. But the moment hung in the air. The dark figure was slipping away into the crowd, and fear etched deeper on Mr. Lawson's face. He knew what was coming. They both did. Mama, please. Mia's voice trembled, her grip tightening around Ginger's hand. Ginger's heart screamed for action, but the looming threat held her captive. We need to check on him just for a second, she said, her mind racing less with reason and more with an instinct to protect. Stay right here, she instructed Mia, urgency coating her every word. I'll be right back. Without letting go of her daughter's hand, she let go just enough to step toward Mr. Lawson. We can't leave you. Mia, come back. He shouted, but she was already too far. Trust me. I just need a moment. The dark figure turned, The moment of truth loomed, beckoning them forward even as Ginger felt herself pulling back. "Mama!" Mia cried out, eyes wide and pleading, tethered to the only thing she believed would keep her safe. Ginger stood torn. Between the peril and her daughter, her heart split in two. What choice lay ahead? "Please!" Mia's voice sliced through the air, pulling at Ginger's very soul. She had to choose, and quickly, before it was too late. Could she muster the courage to face the danger standing before them? Would she risk everything for both her daughter and Mr. Lawson? Just then the shadows stirred, propelling Ginger further into the abyss of uncertainty. Ginger's heart hammered against her chest, each beat echoing the weight of her decision. The dark figure loomed, a palpable threat in the flickering lights of the fair. She could feel Mia's small warm hand quaking in hers, her innocent balloon puppy a stark contrast to the dread swirling around them. "Mama!" Mia's voice cut through the chaos like a knife. "Please don't leave me." Ginger turned to her daughter, the fear mirrored in Mia's eyes pressing down on her like an enormous weight. Every instinct screamed for her to protect her child, keep her safe. Yet a part of her knew Mr. Lawson was vital. He was the shield that stood between peril and the safety of countless families, including her own. As she stood there, indecision paralyzing her thoughts, Mr. Lawson's voice rose above the din. The firmness in it bore the strength of his courage. "Ginger, get Mia to safety." He was still focused on the shadow, eyes sharp. But for a brief moment, a flicker of understanding passed between them. He needed her to trust him just as she needed to feel that he could handle this. "Mia, listen to me," Ginger said, urgency in her tone. "You need to stay close to me." "We'll go around." Another scream echoed through the fairgrounds. A surge of terrified people blocked the path to the exit, their eyes wide, stricken with confusion. Ginger's heart sank. There was no safe way out. "Mama!" Mia whimpered again, squeezing Ginger's hand so tightly it felt like a lifeline. Ginger crouched down to Mia's level, her motherly instinct rising above her fear. "I need you to be brave for me, sweetheart. Can you do that?" Mia nodded, though her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "What if he comes after us?" "I won't let that happen," Ginger promised, her voice steadier now as she fought to quell her own trepidation. "Mr. Lawson is strong and we have to trust him. We have to keep moving." With her heart aching, towed by the weight of every mother's instinct, she stepped forward again, slowly, shielding Mia with her body. They darted toward a nearby booth, hiding behind it momentarily. The shadows seemed less ominous here, but the sounds from the crowd still shimmered with electricity and fear. Ginger peered around the edge of the booth. Mr. Lawson was now moving towards the dark figure, the two silhouettes locked in a dangerous dance. She could see people parting, some rushing by with panic on their faces. Her body tensed as she watched the confrontation unfold. "Stay quiet, Mia," she whispered, feeling the tightness of fear clench her throat. Her breaths came quick as she tried to catch the unfolding chaos. But time was slipping away, and she felt desperation clawing at her insides. Mama Mia's voice was barely a whisper, frail against the tempest of uncertainty. Suddenly a loud crash rang out. A carnival game booth toppled, sending colorful plush toys flying. It was a signal, a trigger that sent the fairgoers into a full-blown panic. Ginger's protective instincts ignited. She grabbed Mia's hand with a vice grip. "Now we have to go," she urged, pulling Mia toward the crowd, which had begun to scatter. "Where?" Mia pleaded, tugging back against the crowd's energy. "Anywhere that I senti here," Ginger replied, her heart racing as adrenaline surged. "Just follow me." As they pushed forward, Ginger glanced back at Mr. Lawson, who was occupied with the dark figure, his determination evident. She caught his eye momentarily and felt a surge of reassurance. This was their hope, their lifeline. But as they rounded a corner, a figure stepped out, blocking their path. Ginger's heart sank further. Were they truly trapped? Mia's grip tightened around her hand, and she felt the warmth of her daughter's fear blending with her own. "Please let us through," Ginger requested desperately, but the figure stood firm, eyes hidden in shadows. "Not so fast," came a voice that sent shivers down Ginger's spine. This was not the time for delays. Could she stand her ground? Would her courage drive her forward, toward the light, or would they be swallowed by darkness? In that moment, as tension threaded through the air, the weight of choices pressed hard on Ginger. Would she find the strength to face the unknown, or would she falter, caught between protecting her daughter and that fierce need to save Mr. Lawson? "Stay close, Mia. Whatever happens, I will keep you safe," she whispered, steeling herself for what was to come. The next moment would determine everything. The shadowy figure shifted ever so slightly, and the dim lights flickered above them, deepening the unease crackling in the air. Ginger's heart raced as she saw the determination etched into the hard lines of the figure's face. She couldn't tell if it was menace or merely a protector standing in their way. "Mama!" Mia's voice trembled again, panic lacing her words. Ginger knelt, scanning their surroundings for an escape. The voice taunting them felt like ice running through her veins. In that moment of fear, an idea sparked. "We can't go back. We need to find another way." With a gentle but firm grip, Ginger pulled Mia in close. "Listen, sweetheart," she said, her voice a soothing balm amid their raging chaos. "I know this is scary, but I want you to be brave. We're going to find a way out together." But Mia's big eyes glistened with tears as she shook her head. "What if he hurts us?" In those heart-wrenching moments, Ginger felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. Everything she wanted for Mia's safety, happiness, security was under threat. But she couldn't let fear trap them now. "Remember the balloon puppy?" Ginger whispered, knowing a small piece of joy might fire up the flickering spark of bravery in her daughter's heart. "He's just like you, cute on the outside but super brave on the inside." Mia bit her lip, considering the playful puppy formed with twisted latex. Something only a child could find real delight in. "Do you really think so?" "I do. Just like that puppy, we can be brave together." Ginger surveyed their options, trying to assess the position of the shadowy figure. The panic surged in the crowd was a stark reminder of their urgency. The voice taunted again, this time louder. "You think you can pass? You have nowhere to run." Ignoring the threat, Ginger turned away from the figure, focusing on the ruckus across the fairgrounds. People were still scattering, some rushing toward the exits, others paralyzed with fear. Each individual was an echo of her own desperation, but she could lead Mia away from this darkness. "Listen carefully, Mija. Do you see that path over there?" She pointed toward the flimsy fence that bordered a line of food stalls. "We can go around. We have to be quick. Will it be okay?" Mia's tiny hand still squeezed Ginger's so tightly, but Ginger felt the warmth of her determination beginning to bloom. "It will be, I promise." Time was of the essence. Taking a deep breath, she adjusted the angle of her body to shield Mia. With one last look at the imposing figure, she whispered, "Now." They slipped through the crowd, moving quickly but quietly, avoiding the gaze of the lurking figure. Each stride felt heavier as her heart battled with the conflicting forces of dread and hope. Suddenly, another loud crash echoed, a roller coaster car clattering against a metal support. The chaos erupted once more, renewing the panic that coursed through the fairgrounds. People screamed, shouts pierced the air, fueling the rush around them. "Mama, I can't." Mia cried out, her courage faltering. "Yes, you can," Ginger urged, her own voice trembling with emotion. "Just keep up with me. We are so close." They maneuvered around the bustling crowds, inching toward the food stalls. But there, deep in the shadows, the lurking figure's silhouette followed them, determined, unyielding. Ginger's pulse quickened. No exit in sight. Would they truly make it out? Just then, another creak of metal shattered the air. "Mommy!" Mia's whimper echoed louder than anything else. Ginger's heart ached. She squeezed her daughter's hand tighter, pulling her closer. "Whatever happens, I am right here." Reaching the edge of the food stalls, they watched as the dark figure pushed through the crowd. Ginger's mind raced. "Mia," she urgently whispered, crouching down again, "we might have to hide. Can you do one more thing for me?" "What?" Mia's face was a mix of fear and curiosity. "We're going to run to that cart over there. Just to the edge of the shadows. If we stay still and quiet, maybe they won't see us." The courage in Ginger's words buoyed Mia's spirit, her fears momentarily forgotten. "Okay, I'll be brave." But just as they prepared to dart for safety, a loud shout rang out behind them. "Stop right there." Their eyes locked, and Ginger felt the chill of dread creeping back. What was facing them now? Would she risk everything for Mia as the darkness threatened to swallow them once more? Ginger's heart raced as she turned to see Mr. Lawson back in position, face squarely against the dark figure. His stance exuded strength and determination, Yet the shadow loomed large, threatening to eclipse any remaining light. The chaos of the fair erupted around them, laughter colliding with terror, but within Ginger, a singular focus crystallized. Protecting Mia came first. "Run!" she yelled, pushing Mia into motion. Their feet flew over the ground, a blur of hope and fear intertwined. Every step echoed with the promise of safety. "Mama, where are we going?" Mia shouted, her little heart drumming with excitement tinged with dread. "To the food stand, stay close." Just as they neared the nearest cart, the world shook with panic screams following a new crash. A ride had toppled over, casting shadows among the lights. It felt like a storm had unleashed itself, shaking the very ground of happiness beneath their feet. As they ducked behind a stack of cardboard boxes, the inhaled chaos was suddenly muffled. Ginger squeezed Mia's hand, feeling the warmth of her bravery dissipate the chill of fear wrapping around her heart. "Mama, I'm scared." Mia's voice was barely a whisper, and with a swift glance Ginger noticed tears shining in her daughter's big blue eyes. "I know, baby. But remember the balloon puppy?" she asked, forcing a grin. "He's brave just like you." Mia nodded, slowly finding comfort in her mother's words. The innocent smile of the balloon puppy seemed to tether them to joy, if only a little. Just at that moment, the dark figure emerged from the shadows, scanning the area. Ginger's heart dropped into her stomach, and she pulled Mia closer, praying they wouldn't be seen. "Stay quiet," she murmured, voice even as her heart raced. But the footsteps crept closer, like shadows seeking capture. "It's all just a game," the figure chuckled darkly, and Ginger's stomach twisted. How could someone toy with innocent lives? Suddenly, a familiar voice shattered the tension. Mr. Lawson's voice erupted through the crowd. "Leave them alone," he shouted, standing tall as a beacon of strength. Ginger's heart swelled at the sight of him, defying the threat in front of them. "Mama, he's gonna get hurt," Mia cried out in alarm, clutching onto Ginger's arm tightly. "He'll be okay, sweetheart. Just stay behind me." Ginger's voice was strong but quivered with fear. Then, in a shocking moment, the figure lunged at Mr. Lawson. Time slowed as Ginger's body reacted instinctively. With a fierce determination, she dashed out from behind the boxes, arms spread wide, shielding her daughter from the unfolding danger. "Mia, with me," she called, and they moved as one, dodging toward the tents set up for food donations. "Let her go," Mr. Lawson shouted, grappling with the dark figure whose grasp fell just a bit short. "Enough. You think you can protect them?" the figure snarled, fury seeping through every syllable. Ginger's heart thundered in her ears, and she pushed Mia down under a barely there tablecloth. "Hide. Don't come out until I say." "But Mama," Mia protested, fear threading her tiny voice. "Just do it," Ginger insisted gently but firmly, watching as Mia squeezed her eyes shut, the trusted balloon puppy still clutched tight in her hand. With a deep breath she stepped out into the open, her back against the walls of the tent, the heat of determination filling her like a rush of adrenaline. "Let them go," she shouted. The air felt electric. "You shouldn't have meddled," came the figure's cold response. Just when heartache gripped her thoughts, she felt Mr. Lawson moving beside her, his protective aura inviting stability. "Together, Ginger," he mused, his voice solid. "We're stronger together." They both stood firm, a united front between the darkness and Mia's innocence. With voices raised, they called for help, the shouts cutting through the air like silver lightning. Other townsfolk began to notice, alerted by the urgency that had wrapped around the fairgrounds. Suddenly, the crowd's attention shifted, and Ginger saw families lending strength, gathering around them like warriors rising to defend their own. Whispers turned into roars of encouragement, igniting the spark of bravery in her heart. With this newfound strength, Ginger felt revived. "You have no power here," she challenged, stepping closer to the dark figure. The confrontation escalated, and Mrs. Eliza, the baker, clutched her rolling pin and stepped forward. "Leave our town. We will not let you harm anyone." Ginger watched the moment fracture in the dark figure's bravado, the smirk wavering as they realized they were no longer alone. The support of a community surged forward, drowning out the chaos, forming a bulwark against fear, protecting the vulnerable. With that, Mia emerged from her hiding spot, her little figure dwarfed by the scene unfolding around her. "Mama," she called. "Here, baby." You're safe. Ginger rushed back, and the tears that had once brimmed in her daughter's eyes were now gleaming with defiance. Rallying next to her daughter brought Ginger strength she didn't know she could channel. This isn't just about us. It's our family, our community. We need to stand together. With renewed assurance they locked eyes with the figure defiance versus menace. A community against a single shadow, determination unfurling like a banner of hope. And with that, the figure finally staggered back. You think this is the end? They shouted, voice shattering. But the crowd answered with resolute unity, chanting for safety, for love, for their town, forcing the darkness to retreat into shadows, never to invade their joyful spaces again. As the fair erupted back to life, laughter mingling amidst shared relief, Ginger wrapped her arms around Mia fiercely, warmth blooming in her heart. Packed in hugs of gratitude, Mr. Lawson joined them, eyes proud, smiles breaking through fear. Never forget, Ginger. Strength lies in love and community, he reminded her gently. Tears of joy spilled down her cheeks as they breathed through the moment, enveloped by the shared spark of resilience that ignited Maplewood once more. Let us go find some ice cream, Mia chirped, her innocence ever resilient. Yes, dear, Ginger laughed, the weight of the world lifting from her shoulders. And with every step forward into the bright, boisterous atmosphere, they walked together, hand in hand, prouder, bolder, a family woven through with hope. It was a journey they'd never forget, every twist and turn, each balloon they crafted, and through it all a lesson learned. Together they soared. Now, dear readers, this is where I need you to step up. You need to subscribe now to never miss amazing stories like this one. If you love this heartwarming adventure, leave a like right now to boost that algorithm and help others feel the same joy. Comment below and share your feelings about this ending. Do you feel the hope rise like Ginger and Mia? And I challenge you to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformation. Let us spread love, light, and community together. Don't wait not even one more second.